So wow, the Airbender episode 1, and we've already met Sokka, we've met Zuko, we've met Aang, we've met Katara. And the one thing I liked about this first episode is that they do a very good job making us understand the primary conflict, making us understand the fire people, where they're coming from, and making us understand where Aang is coming from. So for example, if someone has never seen the animated series and they don't know what this show is about, and they don't quite understand what the big deal is, I think this first episode, and I think it's called Aang, does a very good job bringing us into the universe, introducing us to these benders, because the opening scene is fantastic. I think they have an opening scene that promises a lot in terms of the show, because it's a very intense opening. It gives us a better idea of the benders, you know, what exactly they do with their superpowers. And I think credit goes to the visual effect and the costume department and the makeup artists, because they did a fun, transferring what we saw in the animation to live action is very, very well done. The characters look like the animated characters. Aang looks like the animated character. There are details about his tattoo that just make him look different. You know, because he's supposed to be different. He's supposed to be the avatar. And if, again, you've never seen the show, you don't understand what the big deal is, this show does a good job making you understand who Aang is. So what episode 1 does, it gives you Aang, and then it shows you these are the fire people. This is the main conflict. This is what they want. This is what they're doing. And then now it tells you this is Aang, this is where he came from, this is what happened, this is how he found himself in this particular position. Now, for the people who've watched the animation, I think there are a lot of things that are familiar, but they are done differently. But credit to the first episode. I'm about to go into the second episode, but credit to the first episode. I didn't expect it to go as big as they went. By that I mean the visuals. You know, there is Aang and the other monks. And before, I don't want to spoil it for people, but when you go to where he was before the incident, that's a very beautiful place. And I think the visual effect departments did a fantastic job. And you can actually tell that place is more or less, it's a concept art in motion. Let me just put it that way. And apart from the looks, there is the bisons, another amazing visual effect achievement because of the fur. There are moments that you can actually see Aang hug one of the bisons, and you can actually see how the fur interacts with him. And there are moments that Sokka, Katara, and Aang are on the bison, and you can actually see just how the fur reacts to the environment, it reacts to them. So yeah, this first episode was pretty effective in bringing us into what Netflix, I think, wanted to give us in this particular show. As I go into the next episode, I don't know what's going to happen. The few challenges that I've seen in this particular episode, and I think it's something that I'll get used to, is the performances, because the performances don't, I don't know, there's just something about the performances that don't feel, especially Sokka and Katara in a way, it's something that I have to get used to. I don't know about you. If you've seen the first episode, I don't know what you think about those two characters in the way that they perform. And also Zuko also, there's that feeling of performance you get with the expressions and with the attitude. There's that feeling that they are, you know, they were performing. It's not a bad thing. As I said, I think it's something that I have to get used to. In terms of the powers, this looks good. Yeah, they've set up the show so very well in terms of what to expect, because the earthbenders, with that opening, they did a fantastic. And now I'm just looking forward to the fight scenes that you're going to have in the rest of the episode. So in terms of action, in terms of setting up the story, in terms of character introduction, in terms of visual effects, in terms of costume and set designs, the first episode did what a first episode is supposed to do, which is give us a clear understanding of what's going to happen, and it doesn't fail in any of the aspects that I've talked about. So that's episode 1. I'm hoping to talk about episode 2 in the next few minutes after I see it. But just basically, if I was to give episode 1 a ranking, I would give it a 4.5 out of 5. It's pretty much, I'm a visual artist, so I had a blast with this particular episode. I had a blast with just how some scenes look, because these are people who are making an effort to make a good story. I mean, if you've watched the animation and you're watching this, you're like, it's mind-blowing how much they went into the details into creating this live action version. It looks like Netflix is doing the opposite of what Marvel is doing, which is basically listen to the fans, look at the source material and translate it into live action.